Hello everyone and welcome back to the series where I take a card from the Granny Stitches card deck every week and work it up for you. So this week we are up to week number 21 and this is called the Cluster V stitch. And we're going to be running into a new symbol. I think it's a new symbol. I don't think we've come across it. But it's worth a reminder that in the booklet that comes in the card deck are explanations for all the different symbols that you will see on the cards. So you've got all these symbols and the names of what they are, and then on the next pages are how to make them. So if we turn this one over, we're starting with a chain like always, and then we've got these cluster stitches. And if you look closely at them, they are basically double crochet, like the double crochet symbol. So this here is the double crochet symbol. So it's like a capital T with a diagonal slash through the middle of it. Here we've got what looks like a capital T with a couple of extra legs with the slashes through them. So that indicates that these are double crochets that you've joined together at the top. So you've got 3 double crochets joined together at the top. So it's a 3 double crochet cluster basically, or 3 double crochets together, kind of. Anyways, we will cover that when we get to the stitch. So let's read all the words on the card. We are going to start with a chain of 15 and follow the chart, working in 1 row stripes of yarns A through C. I do appreciate working in 1 row stripes because that way we don't have to cut the ends. Our next color is waiting for us. Once we establish the color pattern, the next color is always going to be waiting for us. Once we've worked it till square, we're going to do the single crochet edging, which is also in the booklet and we've been doing for 20 weeks now. If you want to change the size of your beginning chain, you need to have a multiple of 4 and then add 7. So basically what that means is when you are creating your starting chain, you will do it in multiples of 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on, until you get to basically the length that you want it. And then you add 7. Now that 7 will probably add a little bit more width, but you're going to need that to account for all the chains that you skip at the beginning and all that kind of stuff. Okay? I am once again using the Cascade Anthem yarn. So I have the colors here, peach pink, cactus, and lavender. And looking at my chart, I am going to be starting with my purple. So let's zoom in, get my purple end, and we need a chain of 14. So slip knot on your hook. Ooh, fingers aren't working today apparently. There we go. And a chain of, 15. All right, let's look at the chart to see where we need to go with our chain. So I've just done my chain of 15 and now I am working into the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th chain from the hook. This is all row 1 here, or well, the foundation chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, into that 5th chain from the hook, we're going to make this 3 double crochet cluster, and then we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to put another 3 double crochet cluster all into that same chain. And then we're going to skip 3 chains and repeat. As a reminder, you can find the symbols in your booklet. So that's the symbol that we're looking at, this 3 double crochet cluster. And then on the next pages, they describe it. So here it's described in words. I'll go through that when we get there, but it's always good to know where to find it. All right, so I've got my chain of 15. I like to work into my back bumps, so I'm turning my chain over, and I need to find the 5th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to yarn over, insert into that chain, draw up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. I'm going to pause there. In fact, I have to work into these skip chains, so I am going to put a stitch marker right behind my hook. I haven't made any stitches yet, so when trying to find the top of the turning chain that you need to work into on your way back down, it is right behind the hook. So it's that first little V right behind the hook. Okay, so I've half made 1 double crochet. I need to repeat that 2 more times. So I've got 3 half made double crochets here. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Pause again and do that again. Yarn over, insert into that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I've got 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and, oh, actually, hang on. I've got 4 loops on my hook, and can you see how I've got these like 3 sort of half made double crochets? That's what you want. So now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 at the same time. And now we are going to chain 3, and we're going to do that all again right into this same stitch. It's gotten real big right now, but we're going to put another cluster in there. So I'm going to yarn over and insert and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I've got those 3 half formed double crochets again, and I've got 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4. Now there's no chains in between our clusters here, so I'm just going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to skip 3 chains. Now the first one has gotten real squished because it's right next to this big one that we've elongated. So I got 1, 2, 3. We're skipping into the 4th chain from our last cluster. We're going to make another cluster. So that's 1 time, insert, pull up a loop, pull through 2. That's 2 half formed double crochets. There's 3, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. I'm going to chain 3, and we're going to do that again in the same chain. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Second one, and whoops, I split that. And the 3rd. Okay, I have got, whoopsies, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. Okay, we need to do that one more time. So I'm going to come down to my chain. I need to skip 3, so 1, 2, 3, and into this 4th one, we're going to make another cluster V, really. So first we make our first cluster. All right, it's 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4, chain 3, and we're going to do that again in the same chain. Four loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through all 4. And now I'm right at the end. I've got 2 chains left, so I'm going to skip a chain and put a double crochet in that last chain. So we're going to skip a chain, and in this double crochet we're going to put in this chain we're going to put a double crochet. But I'm going to change colors here. I need to get my cactus. So I'm just going to back that up. To change colors in a stitch, Okay, so I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to insert into my chain and pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. Now I pause. Now I like to lay my my old color, or the current color, I guess you could say, over my hook, and then lay the new color on. And then I'm going to pull through all of those. I just find it keeps things neat and tidy, and helps me not sort of shrink that stitch, which I feel like can happen when you are changing colors in a stitch. So now we need to chain 3. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to put a stitch marker in there again. So 1, 2, 3. If you've been following along, you know that I like to use stitch markers, especially when we've got chains like that, and our stitches are such, like these cluster stitches like to pull on things and distort your stitches and your chains. So having stitch markers in place from the very beginning just really helps you find where you need to stitch when you get to the ends of the rows. Okay, let's look at the chart. So I've just chained 3, and now I'm going to basically do a cluster V in that, like, or around that chain 3 space that we made in between our clusters from the row below, and then do one of those in every chain 3 space going down. And then our last stitch is going to be a double crochet into our turning chain. This is where I put my stitch marker at the very beginning, so I can easily find where I need to put my double crochet. And then that's it. That's our stitch repeat. So let's work this row, and we'll change color again, and then I'm going to let you go to work the rest of it until it's square. So I've got my new color on, I've chained 3. I'm going to turn my work. This is my cluster V, this is my chain 3 space. So that's where I need to do my next cluster V. So I'm going to yarn over, insert into this space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that 2 more times. And then with 4 loops on my hook, I yarn over, pull through all 4. Then I'm going to chain 3 and do that again, all in the same space. Pull through all 4 loops. And then I just come to my next chain 3 space. So here's my 2 cluster stitches and my chain 3, and I'm just going to do that cluster V stitch in that chain 3 space. And then I can do that one more time in the last chain 3 space. And those are my 3 cluster V stitches. So now I need to put a double crochet into the top of the turning chain. So that's why I have my stitch marker. If you look at the end of the row here, this stitch right here, this is my cluster stitch, my first cluster stitch. But you see how big and tempting it is? It would be really tempting to put your double crochet right there, but that would get you in trouble, basically. Okay, I need to have my orange ready. I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to take out my stitch marker and hold on to that chain so I don't lose where my hook needs to go. I'm going to insert into that chain that I'm holding on to, pull through a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now it's time for me to add my orange. And I can chain 3 and put my stitch marker back in. All right, so that is the repeat. You're just going to do that, changing color with each row until you have it square. So on the front here, they've got 5 of these clusters before they do the border. Let's see what happens with my tension. So I'll come back once it's square and we can tackle the border together. Sure enough, 5 rows gives me a square. So I am ready to do my border. I have changed color. I've also taken the time to weave in all my other ends. Now we can start our border. So it got twisted. Let's count our stitches along the top. So this was a double crochet. So we got 1, 2 stitches there because there's one at the top of our cluster. Just zoom in a little bit more. This is a chain 3, but I think we can probably just put 2 single crochets in there. So 1, 2, 4. We've got 2 cluster stitches next to each other. So 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then our turning chain. Sorry, 13, and then our turning chain makes 14. That seems about right. So let's go with that. So 1 single crochet in that first stitch. I'm going to put my stitch marker back in there just so I know, I mean, because we changed color, it's really obvious when we get to the end of the round, but just get in the habit of putting stitch markers in your first and last stitches of rows and you will be happier. All right, 2 around the turning or the chain 3, 1 into the top of the cluster, 1 into the top of the next cluster, 2 around the turning chain, and repeat. So 1 in the last cluster, and then I need 1 in this turning chain. Now, that's our corner, so I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet right back into that stitch. That's our first corner. And now these are basically all double crochets, so we should have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's awkward. 3 per would give us 15. So I think what I will do is I will put 2 here. So I've got 1 already. And then I think I'm just going to go around this chain. So that's 2. 1, 2, 3. So the first one of this sort of set, my row set, goes into the top of the row, and the other 2 are going around the turning chains. Except for here, because I want to make a hard corner, so I need to find the bottom chain. Let's just see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. And now we're going across the bottom. I'm going to chain 1 and go right back into that same chain that I went into, make my corner. And then that is my first stitch. That would be 1, 2. I think here we will go 3 across these. 2, 5, 6, 9, 10, Okay, so I'm going to add another stitch in here. It's all about finding the right number. And however you fudge it, however you do it, is going to be okay. So I've got one in the corner. I'm adding one there before our chain stitch that has all these, like the 2 clusters coming out of it. So it's 2, 3. We've got 3 here. That's 6, 7, plus 3 is 10, 11, 12. Well, we'll just have to add an extra stitch over there somewhere. Okay, we can do this. Because this is in a contrasting color, you can take a look at the picture on the card and pick your stitches out that way. They probably have a different number that I'm working with. That is okay. So I'm going to stick an extra one there and then come in to this. Try and get right in there somewhere. Just shove your hook through however you can. And then we can make our corner. Okay, so I just need to repeat up this side what I did on this side, and then we're going to go all the way around again with single crochets, weave in our ends, and we're done. So I will come back when this is finished. See you soon. And there it is, all finished. That was a lot of fun. This one works up really quickly, actually. I think because of all the cluster stitches. Once you get used to doing the cluster stitches, it works up really fast. Okay, so that is cluster V stitches, and next week we are going to be doing this one, which is called crosshatch. So that looks like a fun one. All right, I will see you next week. Have a great one.